Wow. Wow. Hello, welcome back to another Looxi swatch video. It feels like it's been so long since we've done this. I guess it's been 3 months, but it feels like so long. I missed it. So I just got in the Faerie Tales collection that they launched at the end of March. It came today and they look beautiful. I just took them out of the packaging a little while ago. It's these 10 here. This is actually one from their last collection that came out in February that I skipped over because the swatches didn't look really duochromatic. I was nervous that they were all going to be like manufactured shades, but there was one that I was interested in, so I picked it up today. It's the shade Drip. I don't know if it's going to go in my eyes. I don't know if you guys care about that because I don't know if my eyes can handle it after I swatch all of these, but we'll at least swatch it on my hand at the end. Back to the main attraction. My first impression when I took these out was that they all looked beautiful. Usually it's hard to tell from like the website pictures which ones are going to actually be really sparkly and which ones are going to be a little bit more dull. But as soon as I took these out, these all look really sparkly. So as of right now, I have some pretty high hopes. And yeah, we're gonna try them all out of my eyes and see. I kind of grouped them together in little twosomes that I thought might be like the most helpful for comparisons. And yeah, let's get into it. I want to save these groupings for last because I'm the most excited about it, but I don't necessarily want to start with the darkest. I'm going to switch those two around. So I do have a little bit of concealer on my eyelids just to blend my eyelid tone into my skin. And we're going to start out with the shade Under the Sea. The description on the website says, it's like an ocean in a pan with shifts ranging of teal, green, and dark blue. It feels so soft, like perfectly textured, wonderful. That's really pretty. What did it say it had? Teal, green, and dark blue. I definitely see the teal. I feel like I'm seeing yellow, but I guess it could be described as green, and I feel like I do see that dark blue over by my lash line as well. That's really pretty though. Really full pigment. I like that a lot. Really shiny. I think this is going to be a good-ass collection. Next up is the shade Emerald City. This is described as an emerald green with shifts of gold, green, and blue. Feels exactly the same as the previous one. I'm gonna layer it up and maybe I kind of just made worse contact, but it does feel like a little bit less full pigment than the previous shadow. Yeah, I feel like it did need a little bit more building up, but it's still really, really pretty. It's kind of an interesting shade in my collection. I thought it was going to be like a true lime green, but I think it's like right in between green and teal. Like it's definitely more green than teal, or mint. It's right in between green and mint. That's really cute. And I definitely see a lot of yellow in there. I do see some of that deeper green where the light's not hitting it. Really cool shade. These are both really nice formulas. Next up we have two kind of deeper greens. This one is called Dragonslayer. I'm really pleasantly surprised in this because I think it looked a little bit more dull in the product pictures, but it's definitely like a bright medium green here, which is more up my alley. It's described as a gorgeous green with shifts of gold, blue, and purple. Feels just like the first two. I feel like they really mastered their formula or something. Wow. I feel like with a lot of Looxi shadows in the past, when they got deeper in tone, they weren't always as sparkly, and I don't know if that's just something with like eyeshadow composition, but this is like getting a little bit deeper and it's super sparkly. I can see that black base in there, which I'm not really the biggest fan of because I feel like to wear a black base eyeshadow, you need to have like either like really crisp lines, which I don't usually do, or just with like a deeper crease and everything. So I kind of have to see how I want to work this into my collection. because I really like how it looks in the light. That green tone is gorgeous. And I bet there are a lot of people out there that prefer the black base if you are someone that wears a lot of really deep mattes. But yeah, I just need to figure out how to use that for my makeup style, but I do really like it. This next one I feel like is pretty unique to my collection, maybe you could say out of my comfort zone. It's called a Wicked Witch, and it's described as a deep and dark green with shifts of deep purple. I bet this is gonna have a black base also, because it just looks really blackened. This one's a pretty similar formula to my Touch. If anything, it's a little bit softer. Ooh, that looks really pretty, actually. That looks just like Oculus from Cleona. Oh my god. That's gorgeous. Oh my god. It just feels so incredibly shifty. Oh my god, you see how that base is just like dancing around? And it's like a red base, it looks like. Like maybe an eggplant purple with like red in there and then like green on top. Oh my god, I'm gonna do another little bit of a layer just because I feel like I didn't put enough on already. Oh my god. This is not at all what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be more of just like a deep green shimmer. But this feels like the most transformative shadow that I've ever tried from Looxi. And I've tried most of their shadows. I'm in disbelief. I feel like if you told me this was a Cleona shadow, I would believe you. I love it. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't want to take this off yet. Wow, I feel like this is like one of the best shadows, if not like objectively the best shadow that Looxi's ever come out with. I'm absolutely in love. I'm gonna stare at myself in the mirror a little bit. We'll be right back. Wow. Wow. I'm still in like utter disbelief of that shadow. I feel like I just won the lottery. I'm gonna try to contain myself enough to go on, but like, man, that shadow. That shadow. The next one is called Huffin Puff. It looks like this deep, mid to deep blue with a lot of purple in there. It's described as a midnight blue with shifts of purple and brown. Be curious how that brown comes out. Because I mean, even with that last one, you didn't see all that dimension in the pan, so. I'm trying like hard to not be like, let's see if we get another one like that one. Because I feel lucky enough that like we got one. I'm shook. I never say I'm shook, but like I'm absolutely shook. Okay, this one looks really bright on my finger, which is cool. I like it so far. Ooh. Oh. That's really pretty also. It's no Wicked Witch, but trying to separate from what just happened. Okay, this one's really pretty. I love the brightness of it, and I feel like it does have a pretty big flip as well. Like, it's interesting how deep it looks, but I feel like it's like a periwinkle sparkle sitting on top of a purple sparkle with like a red base. Like this right now, there's so many colors in that. I forgot to say with the last one also, through my squealing, that like it can be harder to see the flip with the light that I have on right now. I do have a ceiling light as well, which I feel like does give another element to it. But the fact that you can see so many flips with this kind of direct lighting means that like once you're out in the world, it's going to be like all over the place. It's going to be a gymnast on your eyes. It's going to get a gold medal, or at least place. That's really pretty. Yeah. I love that it's like opposing colors too. I love that it's like cool and warm at the same time. That's a really nice shade. That's a really nice shade. I can't tell if this eyelid is stained from the last shade or if it's just being a little bitch today, but I did tap a little bit more concealer on there, so we're gonna persevere. This next shade is one that I was most excited for, probably in my top 4 of excitement. This one is called Once Upon a Time. It kind of looks like the brighter version of the last one. You could see how it goes from like this mid-tone light blue to lavender. Oh my god, I'm so excited. It's described as an electric and vibrant blue with shifts of purple and turquoise, which is right up my alley. Oh, wow. Oh my god, what's going on with Looxi in like the best way possible? This reminds me so much of Insane from JD Glow. That's really pretty. Wow. It's just like really purple, really lavender, and really blue all at the same time. And really sparkly on top of that. Yeah, like the way it's catching the light, it has so much dimension to it. I do think kind of like objectively, this is a more impressive shadow. Like this is a more unique shadow in my collection. But also I am someone that tries way more lavenders than tries shadows like this. They're both so pretty. Yeah. I feel like this will be like a standout shade that like I'm gonna use like purposely, and this will be like an easy shade that I'll like grab and throw on whenever, you know? Wow, I love these. Okay, the next shade we're going to dive into is the one that I'm the most excited about, or I guess the one that I was the most excited about before trying any of these out. It's the shade Pixie Dust, and I feel like it just looks the most unique from all the other shades. A lot of shades that Looxi does, I can think of other shades that Looxi has done that it reminds me of, but this one feels like something totally different. It's like a really kind of like rose gold pink. It's described as a dusty pink with shifts of rose gold and mauve. Man, I'm so on with these descriptions. Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be really like really sparkly. Oh my god, it feels so soft. I love it. Okay, that's pretty. Let's build her up a little bit. That's really pretty. That's really pretty. That's really, like, foiled. Wow. It doesn't have a million flips like some of those last shades did, but this is definitely a shade I'm going to use a lot, and it's definitely a shade that's going to stand out in my collection because I definitely don't have a shadow that's just like this. And actually, looking at it from this angle, I feel like sometimes with lighter shades, it's harder to see shifts because they're not shifting from one end of the spectrum to the other. But I do see like the deeper pink, I see the gold here, I see a lighter pink, and I see a brighter pink at the same time. Yeah, that's a really pretty shade, and I know I'm going to use this a lot. So this is Pixie Dust. This next shadow is called Ohana. Oh, that's kind of like Hannah. Wow, it's made for me. Looking at this from the pictures that she posted, I think in the sneak peek email, I thought it was going to be like a bronze that just shifted pink, but it looks like a really bright medium pink, and I'm pretty excited about it. The description says a plum purple with shifts of golden orange and brown. Plum purple. Cool. All right, I do see that like orangey bronze. Cool, I'm gonna give it another layer because that feels very thin. Huh, this one feels different, but I really like it. I don't know what it is about it. It feels like, I want to say less sparkly, but like that's not true. But like a different kind of sparkly. It just feels different. But I like it. Like this one feels like hot pink sparkles on top of orange. And I feel like a lot of Looxi shadows just kind of feel like a white sparkle mixed in, you know? Like it doesn't have the same brightness. I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to say, but I really like it. And I think it feels really special. It feels really different from Looxi shadows, and I like it a lot. It kind of even reminds me of a couple of those Shine by SD shades from their Dynasty 2 collection, I want to say. I could be wrong, but like Hottie and Summer Rush is what I'm thinking of. Just in the way of them being like super bright, sparkly shadows. But something about this, like, it's a more interesting color combination because it's such like a bright hot pink on top of more of like a burnt orange. I feel like I'm just like rambling color thoughts, but it's definitely way different than anything that I've seen before, and I really like it. And it's kind of like right up my alley because it's not, I feel like sometimes I get bored with super light shades, but also I find really dark shades kind of intimidating sometimes. And I think this is like right up my alley. Okay, on to the last two shades from this collection. I'm gonna do this one first and then save the one that I'm the most excited about, or I was the most excited about, for last. This is called The Rose, and it's interesting with like the swatches that Looxi themselves puts out makes everything look a lot more dimensional than I'll ever see it with my own eyes. But of the collection, this was the one that in their swatches didn't look duochromatic. So as much as I love a good hot pink, I was probably on the lower end of excitement about this one based on that, but I'm interested to see. The formula looks really sparkly and nice, and shadows don't have to be duochromatic for me to like them, of course. It's described as a fuchsia shade with shifts of red. I'm gonna pop her on this eye because I feel like I've been using deeper shades on that eye. The formula feels really nice. That looks really pretty. It does feel like a little bit more tacky when I'm putting it on, kind of a different experience, and I am gonna layer it up a little bit. That's a nice shade. I'm not super excited about it. I feel like, you know, it's just a hot pink, but a hot pink shimmer is nice. Looxi shadows are $3. If you've been looking for a hot pink shimmer, maybe this is exactly what you've been looking for. But I feel like I have one from Adept that comes to mind. I'm sure I have others too that I'm not thinking of, but it's nice and I think I'll use it, but it's not anything that feels particularly unique to my collection personally. I have been enjoying kind of more neutral shades recently than I was historically known to do. So when I saw the pictures from this collection, this was the one that I was most excited about for that reason. It's called Oh Bother, or maybe second most excited about, because I think I said I was the most excited about that Pixie Dust one or whatever that was, but whatever, they were my top two. So this one's called Oh Bother. It's described as a peachy shade with shifts of gold, orange, and reddish pink. I was thinking like maybe this could be like my Angel Wings 2.0, but I don't think it looks as dimensional looking at it in the pan, but let's try her out. Feels nice and similar to the other shadows. Oh, that does have like a really nice peachy flip. My impression of it from this is like, it kind of reminds me of Antares from Terra Moons, but like the version that favors the gold aspect of it as opposed to the pink aspect of it. Huh, I'm gonna layer it up a little bit. Okay, it's pretty and I like the brightness of it, but my socks are remaining on. They have not blown off. But I do like it, and I do think that I'll use it. I could even probably use it as like an inner corner shade, I bet. Yeah, it's pretty, but it's not changing my world. Okay, I said I'd think about it, but I decided to volunteer my eyelids to also swatch that 11th shade that I ordered from the last collection. It's the shade Drip. It looks very much like an olive green in the pan. It's described as a golden green shade with shifts of blue, red, green, and purple. It feels like the most recent collection also. Man, that is really pretty. It kind of reminds me of other shades that I have from Looxi that I think were in that Halloween Treats collection a couple years ago that had some really impressive shades in it. But man, still really nice. It's making me wonder if I completely misjudged that last collection. Or I mean, the fact that they didn't look like duochromes, maybe they would have mostly been like that last hot pink we just swatched. But this is really pretty. That's like a really nice, really duochromatic shade. I feel like I do have other shadows like this. Which ones? I'm not sure. But this is really nice. And it's $3. So yeah, I guess I'm going to make an eye look based around this, and then we'll come back, talk about them a little bit more, do some hand swatches. Okay, I actually really do like the shadow Drip. I feel like looking at myself in my other mirror when I was putting on makeup made me realize that like maybe I don't have a shade like this, because I feel like the shades that I'm thinking of are deeper, and this one's like a really nice kind of like mid-tone shade. And I mean, even kind of like a similar, not as extraordinary of course as the one I was flipping out about before, but it does have that like duochromeness so like evenly dispersed in it that like you can't look at it without seeing the duochromeness, and I think that's really cool. So I like it a lot. I like my eye makeup a lot. So yeah, all over my lid is Drip, and then on my transition and my lower lash line I just stuck in Glaminatrix Cherry Cocoa, and then on my lower lash line I topped that with a little bit of Dragonslayer from this collection, and my inner corner is Ohana from this collection, which I really like, and I think I'm going to get the most use out of that shade as an inner corner shade, because I feel like it's just kind of perfect for that. I really like it. What an incredible collection. I feel like there truly were no duds. There were some that were like more amazing than others, but they were all good. They were all good. And like I'd recommend any of them to someone who sees the color, sees the swatch, and feels like that's lacking in their collection and they like it, because they were all good. So I don't know how concise of a ranking I want to do, because I don't know. There were kind of a lot. Maybe I'll kind of like, we'll talk about like my top ones and my medium ones and my bottom ones. So my number one, I can't believe it. I would not have thought that like this deep green would end up being my number one. Like you can't even see looking at it that it has so much dimension in it. But like, I feel so lucky to have this shadow, and this made the whole collection worth it for me. Wow. So yeah, my number one, Wicked Witch, going in my top shadows ever, because I'm just so thrilled, so impressed with it. I like it so much. Another one that's in my top that I feel like maybe when I first put it on, I didn't sound as impressed with because it followed up Wicked Witch, the hardest thing to follow up ever. But Huffin Puff, I feel like as I put on the next shadow, I started like realizing how cool of a shadow this one is. So I'm gonna put this as, you know, roughly my number 2 spot. So there's Huffin Puff. I feel like it had a similar thing going on of being just like really interestingly dimensional. But I mean, even just looking at the swatches, you can see from the swatch Wicked Witch like doing its thing, and this one like came alive in the eye, but like you don't really see that in just like that simple swatch. Huh. Some others that were high up on my ranking, I'm gonna say Ohana, just because this one was so interesting. That like hot pink with that burnt orange was like no other shadow that I have, and it was a really pretty shade that I feel like I'm going to wear a lot. I feel like these aren't looking so amazing in the swatches, but like you just saw them in my eye, you know. And then Pixie Dust was that like rose gold one that was really pretty, really unique to my collection, really unique to Looxi's collection, and I feel like I'm going to get a lot of use out of it. So that there is Pixie Dust. And to complete my top 5, I mean, these are all pretty close together, but I'm going to say number 5 is Once Upon a Time. Or like this is just a shade that's like solidly in the middle, you know? I really liked it, but I did feel like it was less unique to my collection. But at the same time, the fact that like it feels just as good as like JD Glow shadows says a lot about it. Yeah, and I feel like you could really see that duochromeness in the swatch there. For my loosely number 6 spot, I'm going to put Oh Bother. I really, really like this as my inner corner, and I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of this way. But also, like, it is shimmery enough that I could wear it as a lid shade as well. So that one was Oh Bother. That looks really pretty in the swatch, actually. And the last 4? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea how to rank these. Maybe I'll say, you know, maybe I'll go with that first one. Under to See. I feel like it was ages ago. I feel like I was a different person when I tried this one out. Not necessarily a color that I'm super excited about, but like that formula, it's undeniable. That looks so pretty. That one might be like one of the fullest pigment shades here. You know, like I feel like these you can kind of see through a little bit, but like that one is like a wall. That's really nice. That's a really nice shadow. I'm also gonna put Dragonslayer up here. I know this one, I complained about the black base a little bit, but I think it is really pretty. And I do like it on my lower lash line. That's how I have it right now. So yeah, there is Dragonslayer. And then in my loosely number 8 spot, I'm going to put Emerald City, which it also feels like decades since I tried that out, but it was a pretty light green, nice color. And then in my loosely number 10 spot, I'm going to put the Rose, but the only reason I'm putting this here is because like this is a shadow that I know I have already, and it didn't have any like crazy flip or anything, but as a hot pink shadow, it's still a really nice hot pink shadow, and I would still 100% recommend it to someone who wants a nice hot pink shimmer. I mean, and also hot pink shimmers I've found to be pretty hard to find, especially in a vegan formula. So like this one being number 10 just speaks to how strong this entire collection is. I didn't include Drip in those loose, pointless rankings just because it's not part of this collection, but on my lid right now, I really like it, and I'll give you a swatch of that also. I feel like if I did have to incorporate that in that ranking, it would probably go in my top 5. Maybe it would push out this lavenderish one, Once Upon a Time, simply on the grounds that I know I have Once Upon a Time in my collection already in another format, and I do think Drip is a little bit more unique. So yeah, here are all the swatches. This was so much fun to do. I can't believe how good all of these shadows are. I feel like Looxi has really stepped up their game. I feel like I've said for a long time that they have hidden gems, and because the shadows are so cheap, I don't mind kind of like making up the cost of the wasted shadows because it's worth it to like put towards the cost of the shadows that are really good. And like some of my oldest Looxi swatch videos, I would come up with like a 50-50 about like what was good and not good. So I just feel like, what's going on with Looxi? How did they go from like that of like me instantly decluttering shadows as I swatch them on my eyes to this collection that's so good, and this shadow that like I'm going to think about this shadow every day now. I love it more than I can explain. So yeah, that's the whole dish on this newest collection. I hope this was fun to watch. I hope this cleared up some things about it if you had any questions about this collection. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. And thank you so much for being here. Bye.